Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. I was thinking I had about 2 more parts for my book collection and finished pages videos, but I'm gonna combine the last 2 collections since I don't have many finished pages in each of these bundles of books. So welcome, this is going to be part 7, and I'm gonna start with this pile over here first. So I'll move these over to the side and I'll just put those on top of there. All right, so I'm going to start with the Forest Diver and Julia Rivers collection. They're illustrated by Forest Diver and I believe, I don't know if it's the publications, Julia Rivers. Okay, so let's start with this one. All right, so these books are were purchased after seeing videos from Elm Colors and A Cluttered Life. They're completed pages. I just love what they did, and yeah, it just made me want to get some of these books. So they have lots of different books, something for anyone's liking. Yeah, just all different kinds. So I bought, oh, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this publisher. They are like Amazon printed books. They have the black background, but it's been nice to be able to use the alcohol markers and like color pencils on top. But yeah, so really fun books. All right, so this one is called The Hidden Spirits of the Enchanted Forest. And here is this one. Love the color combination here. I've been trying to do a minimal color palette. And yeah, so alcohol marker base and then color pencils on top. A little bit of paint pens like Posca to highlight certain things. Here's this one, so blues and yellows. A little bunny rabbit peeking out here. And this one was, I did this one this year. It was inspired by the musical Riverdance, which is an Irish dancing like production. So if you haven't seen it, you have to go check that out. But my daughter is an Irish dancer, and I was just trying to do something that was inspired by that. So this is just some little words from the, I think the narrator at the beginning of the show. Oh, and let me go back to that one. I do have a little bit of some shimmery paint in this one. There in those leaves. Yeah. All right, so there's that one. Next is Keepers of the Enchanted Forest. Let me start in the back. I think I have 1 or 2 in here. Let's see. Okay, this one. Oh yeah, I love the color combination of this one. So these like fuchsias and purples, light blue, but then this pop of gold, which I do have some gold shimmer accents in there. The blue kind of reminds me of like the Avatar characters. All right, I guess that's it on that one. Okay. Next is Guardians of the Enchanted Forest. It's that one. And I do have some like coppery shimmer accents. Same thing, just minimal color palette, alcohol base or alcohol marker base, and then color pencils on top. Sometimes I need to use fine liners for little small details, but for the most part, the markers can get in there. And then this one I did decide to do like a chalk pastel on the background. But yeah, I love kind of the neutral tones, but then I added like the pops of these neon mushrooms in there, which I think looks really cool. All right, and then this one was inspired by an artist. And he does a lot with gold, so the artist was Gustav Klimt. I did do a video on this one too on my Finding Inspiration Fridays, and yeah, I think the artwork was called The Kiss. So lots of gold accents, and then a lot of jewel tones too. So I added some blues and like reds, greens, and blues over here just to make that add a little bit more color in here, but then also for the inspiration from that print. So yeah, that was a fun one. And again, lots of gold coloring with just the markers, but then also the gold glitter and some other shiny gold accents like in the leaves here. All right, and then these next ones, I actually don't have anything colored in them. I was gonna use them for some of my students in class. If they finished like a project, then they can pick a page to color. And that just never happened. So I still have these untouched, but really pretty like illustrations. These just have little inspirational quotes and sayings. So I thought it would be fun for kids and for adults too, but yeah. All right, so that is You Are Made of Stars and Spirit Wilderness. You belong among the wildflowers. All right, there are those two. All right, the next book is from R.J. Hampson. This is called Forest Song. This book is very similar to the last illustrator that I showed you. He also has several different titles of books, so you could check that out. Lots of different themes and stuff. So I really want this pirate one. Oh, it looks like a lot of fun. I've seen a couple of the pages done in that one. So I only have one page done in here. Let's see, and it is this one. Not my favorite. I don't know why I picked pink and purple houses, but anyway, I kept the trees pretty neutral so that all these other little things can be seen here. These don't have the black background, as you can see on the opposite page. I do like how they have a little title for each page though. This is called The Forest Kingdom. Like that's called Portobello Road. Because of the mushrooms, I guess, there. So yeah, cute illustrations. And again, if this isn't your style, he's got a lot of different other books that might fit your liking. All right, the next set of books are, I'm going to call them color by number. Some of them aren't like actual color by number, but I'm just going to kind of lump them in that category. This one is called Halloween Color by Number by Sachin Sachdeva, and it is paper cut art. So it's made to look like it's like paper all cut out and put into these little fun pictures. So this isn't really my like go-to coloring style, but it is nice when you don't want to have to think about having to pick your own colors. You can just do your own. And you obviously do not have to use the colors that they recommend. You can change it how you like, but there are those options. All right, and so I've been using alcohol markers and then color pencils, or sometimes just color pencils. All right, here is this one. There is, oh, let me show you a page not done. So there is, it's like grayscale where you have the shades. You just have to be careful because obviously if you color over with like color pencil, you can lose some of that shading. But you can always add it back in. This one I decided to outline in the white Posca pen after I colored it. So I think that helped make it stand out a little bit better. There's Dracula. Pirate. This one I wasn't happy with the background. I wish I would have changed the colors around a little bit maybe. And this one. This one I decided to add a little bit of stickles inside there, the hat and the bat, some of the candy. And this one looks like a tray of cookies, trick or treat. That's it. And sometimes, I don't know, I feel like I want the numbers covered, but you can't always color it. Maybe color pencil would cover it up. Let me see on this one. Oh yeah, see, I even use color pencils on this one. You can still see it through, so. It doesn't bother most people, but that's probably one reason why I struggle with it, because I don't like the numbers on there. All right, the next one is called Lots of Dots. This is a more unique kind of color by number. It's not a color by number. It is, well, I'll show you. All right, so Lots of Dots. This is by Anna and Sheena. And in the front here, it talks about this style of art and how you can do it. And then it gives you like a practice one. And then all the pictures that are going to be, that you can color, are going to be in the front here. So it shows you what they're gonna look like when it's complete. And then if you go towards the back here, let's see what the first one was. This one, so the butterfly. This is the one that I did, and then this is the example one. So how do you know what color to color these little dots? I'll show you in a minute. So here's a tulip. I've been using Crayola Super Tips for these, which work really nice. Sometimes I color them just solid, and sometimes, if you can see on this one, I do a little bit of shading to it. Frog. I just think they look so cool with the dots. Flamingo. Seahorse. This one I added some little white dots in there for a little reflection, just to make it look more like bubbles. All right, so here's the page as you can see. So it's not number, but they are like color coordinated. So, you know, you can use like the yellows and the reds. There's a little bit of blue. Again, you do not have to use what they suggest. You can do your own coloring. But yeah, it's kind of nice. Again, it's like one of those mindless coloring things that you just don't have to think about. You could just color and have fun. So, but yeah, some of them get progressively, I wouldn't say more difficult, but just more dots, I guess. Yeah, like look at that one. That is just a lot of dots, but this one is gonna look really cool when it's done. So, all right, so that is Lots of Dots. And kind of going on that same mind frame is Circulism art books. This one is a color by number. This one is called Yuletide by Eclipse. And again, it is circles. But this one does have, instead of the circle being colored so you know what color it is, this one does have the numbers. This is black shiny paper, and I do want to say that when you color on here, that the marker definitely feels different than going on like regular paper. So And this one reminds me of the toy Light Bright. I don't know if I'm dating myself or not with that toy, but yeah, it's the little box that lights up, and then you put the black paper on, and then the little colored pegs into the paper, and then it like shines with that design. But yeah, it's just I guess because of the circles and the black paper, it just reminds me of that. So anyway, it gives you the color key here, and you just color that. Let's see. There's that one. This one I did with some glitter gel pens. Not everywhere, just right there. And these, they don't have any numbers on them, so I just left them white, but again, you could definitely color them how you want. And, oh, is that it? I thought I had one more. Let's see. No, all right, I guess I just have two. All right, the last stack of books are just going to be from various illustrators. This one is called Manic, Botanic, illustrations by Irina Vinick. I had seen pictures on probably Instagram and Pinterest from this book, and I just thought it was so amazing. The line art in here is incredible. So my only thing, and this is just my thing, I struggle trying to come up with my own coloring on this one. Like once I see one that's done, then I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. I think just the line art gets really confusing, and when I see it colored, then it's broken down and I can see like the images better, like things make more sense. But when I'm just looking at this, like I can just sit here and stare at it and not know like what to do. And this is really the only book that that gives me that problem. So pretty much all of these that you see are going to be ones that I have copied from someone else. So I did not write down their names. So if you see one that you've done like this, thank you for your inspiration. So yeah, I don't know what it is. I get like a coloring block with these books. So anyway, this one looks cool with this bright red radish. There might be one in here that I did on my own and then I didn't like it, so then I went back to copying. Here's this one, these moss. And this one, I kind of wish I would have done different color bodies, like maybe stuck with like the blue colors, because it would have popped out a little bit more against the greens. But the corn turned out pretty cool too. Elephant. I love these bright flowers up here. Squirrels. Turtles. Again, it's just been a nice way to kind of play around with alcohol markers too, being able to blend them. Yeah, and I don't know if I've used much color pencils in here. I think it's been pretty much all alcohol markers. This one, and same with this one, the birds. I wish I would have done them all blue instead of blue and yellow, because I think if they were all blue, they would have stood out against all this. And peacock. And this one I think I just copied from the front, yeah. All right, so there is that one. All right, so this next book is called Doodlers Anonymous, epic coloring book. It has artwork from 90 different artists. So you get a huge variety of illustrations. And yeah, so that's a lot of fun. I first saw this book on Dee Dee Willingham's channel, and she was flipping through it, and I saw a page that she did, this page, and I just loved it. Like, I wanted to do it in my book, but she didn't have a tutorial on it, so I kind of had to figure out how to do it. So I do have a video on this, on how I did it. Now looking back, after I've used masking fluid and stuff, I'm pretty sure she probably used a masking fluid instead of doing it like how I did it. So anyway, you can go check that out to see how I did it. I made it way more complicated than I think she probably did. But anyway, I got kind of the same results. So yeah. Here is some interesting illustrations. Like I said, not all of them are like my liking, but they're super fun. And yeah, you'll have to check out her video on, she's done quite a few pages in here. And of course, they're always really cool. All right, so here is this page. I had colored this page, and I think I used some water-based markers maybe, or watercolor pencils, and it did end up bleeding through. It may have been because of this, maybe? I'm not sure. I think I used a stamp for this actually, but the watercolor along here did bleed through pretty good to the other side. So I liked kind of this, like, just, you know, line art of the typewriter. I don't think there was anything in the background, so I just took some old scrapbooking paper that had this like typewriter fonts, look like newspaper, and some different stickers, and just, you know, glued them all down, the Mod Podge glue, and stuck them all down. So yeah, I thought that turned out pretty cool. And there's this one. I did draw in those clouds. And this looks like color pencil. Oh yeah, Dee Dee Willingham has done this one too, and it's so cool. All right, and then this one. So yeah, interesting illustrations with like these cut off limbs here and the bones sticking out, but yeah, I liked the color combination here. So if you like variety, this would be a good book to check into. All right, next is Desert Wonderland by Rachel Reinhardt. And this one, I love desert wildlife anyway. I live in the desert, so this is like up my alley. But I had seen this book on T's World of Coloring, and she finished the book and did like a flip through, and I was so amazed. It was like one of the first finished books I had seen like on YouTube, and I was just blown away, because like for me to finish a book, like knowing how many hours go into it, yeah, I almost didn't believe it could be done, but she did it, and it's beautiful. So yeah, this one I used watercolor pencils, and then this looks like some chalk pastels here in the background. This one is just, looks like color pencil and color pencil. My book is kind of falling apart here a little bit. This one, I do have a video on this one where I show how you can use eyeshadow as a coloring tool, coloring medium, and I used it as like eyeshadow, and a little bit of gold stickles there in the corner of her eyes. I can't remember if I used it for her face or not, or if I just used it for her eyes. But yeah, I love the way her hair turned out, and just the color combination's really pretty. So this is all done with color pencil. All right, and that is it for that one. I believe she has a channel on YouTube also, and she does a lot of like color pencil tutorials too, so yeah. All right, next one is Doodles National Parks. The artist is Eric Dowdle, and I've seen a lot of his artwork on calendars or puzzles. Like puzzles, I think, are a big thing. But yeah, I love like the look of his work too. It's very like textured, kind of like bubbly looking. So this is one where you can have his artwork on one side, and then you have the line art on the other side. There's a different, let's see if I can show you. Yeah, this one, it's a little bit different style, so I don't know if he's illustrated this or if this is a different illustrator, but yeah, slightly different look than the ones that you copy. So let's see. All right, here is this one. I really love the challenge of trying to make it look the same. The colors don't always match, but I really try to get like the texture right and stuff like that. It can be a little confusing because sometimes the lines, you know, you don't get the certain details like you do in his picture. But you know, it's like all the brickwork, like those lines aren't there. So you kind of have to do your own, but that's kind of the fun challenge of it. This one, I've been using like water-based markers, color pencils, and definitely fine liners. Also, paint pens work really good for getting these little flower dots in here. It doesn't look like I did it in the trees. I think I just used, well, it looks like I used some alcohol markers in there. Here's this one, Independence Hall. So again, same thing, I try to match it up. Again, the texture doesn't look quite like his. I could probably go back and do paint pens or something in there, but I was okay with that. Arches National Park. This was the first page I did. And actually, I got this book on this vacation. So we had gone to Utah, and in a little gift shop, they had this book. So that is where I got this one. And this is Glacier National Park. So again, this is like that slightly different illustrative style. This one I used color pencils, and I do believe I did a video on this one too. This is distress inks and some water spots to create that look. It looks like same thing, maybe a little bit of distress ink down here, but then color pencils. All right, that is it for that one. All right, this is Creative Haven's Enchanted Christmas by Teresa Goodridge. This was my first Teresa Goodridge book and Creative Haven book. I think it was like a smoking deal. It was like $2.99 or something like that on Amazon. So yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I'll give it a try. Yeah, so I did this one, little gingerbread house, alcohol markers, color pencils, and then some stickles in through the candy and the snow. Yeah, for some reason I wanted a pink sky, but I think that makes it look more like fantasy or something, but yeah, pretty illustrations in here. All right, next book is Holmes, Sweet Homes. I purchased this one from Etsy, and this is by Jen Katz. This one, the pages flip up like so. And I really love like the soft kind of muted tones from the cover and like the back cover artwork. So that was kind of my goal in this book, was to do things like this. So very soft kind of muted tones. I tend to color really heavy and more like jewel tones. And like dark, but so this one kind of, I wanted it to help me practice to color softly. So anyway, here is this one. So put this down here. All right, and then so I do use alcohol markers and some chalk pastels and then color pencils. But yeah, little bunnies are so cute. All right, here is this one. Looks like a little house that they're making bread in. And also on the front cover, there's these little dots to give like texture and stuff. So I copied that too. So added some little dots here and there. All right, this next one isn't like super light and muted tones, but I wanted it to look like a night sky. So this was all done with, I believe, not ink tints. Graphitints, maybe. I think it was graphitints, and then some alcohol markers, and then color pencil base. Again, I have the little dots here with the little wiggly lines. But yeah, this little witch is so cute. White Posca for some of this white stuff up here. But yeah, it's a fun book. Cute little like houses. And then you have a few of these pages where it's like a shelf of a bunch of things. All right, this next book is called Fun Adult Coloring Book. It is by Claire Blossom, and these images are kind of like feather looking images with botanicals and almost like Zentangle looking graphics and line art. So I did this one. Being scared does not mean you cannot make a difference. So yeah, they all have some type of quote in them. Yeah, pretty designs. And there is that one. All right, next is Erie Patisserie. This is by Carla Mangana. And I really liked this one for Halloween because there was like a lot of like fun treats in here. Still some like images or like portrait type stuff, but I got it more for like all the treat stuff. So this one I did a chalk pastel background, but I used like a stencil for all those lines. Alcohol marker. Yes, alcohol marker base. I don't know if I used color pencil or not, but I did use the stickles for the spider web, and then I used like a glossy accent for the little stand. Yeah, super fun images in here. There's this one. This looks like either black gouache or acrylic paint. Donuts, getting some stickles in there. All right, and I think that's it. Yep. All right, last book to show you is this one. Okay, I did write down the title. Now, I have heard when I've done videos on this book that this book is no longer available. But, you know, maybe someone can find it somewhere. So I'm going to give you a couple different titles that you might be able to search under. Wonderland Animals or Premium Animals in Fairyland. I purchased this from 70 East Books, and the artist is Chiaki Karamomo, or Karamomo Chiaki. So anyway, maybe that will help you find it, even if it's like on eBay or something. All right, so this is the type of book that has the artwork in the front. You have little just small samples of what's in here, and then you have the bigger pages, the bigger artwork. But yeah, I love just the fantasy aspect of his pictures, and then the colors of his pictures are just so fun and like magical, whimsical, you know, all of that. So I'll show you my ones that I've done, and then I'll compare it to the pages. That's the only thing I wish they would have done, like the original artwork on one side, and then you can copy it, because I am definitely one that likes to copy, so I have to keep turning it back, but that's okay. All right, so here is this one, this winter deer in front of a store here. I use a lot of different products: alcohol markers, color pencils, paint pens, glittery accents. I think I used, not Inktense, maybe the Graphitinse too. So, all right, so I'll show you the original one. Here's that one. And mine. All right, here's the cat. So this one I used a pan pastel for the background, which I wish I would have gotten it a little more like solid. I could have done a few more coats, but that's okay. And then I did add a little bit more shading in some of these, like the balloons, just to make them stand out a little bit more. It seemed too flat when I colored it, but then when I look at this one, I think it looks, you know, it doesn't have the shading either, and it looks fine. But yeah, for some reason I just felt like mine needed a little bit more shading. I love how the eyes turned out. So yeah, good. And then the weasel and the finished one, or the artist one. I did try to do a little bit of watercolor technique in the leaves. As you can see, there's a little bit more color variation in some of these leaves, so I was trying to do that in here. But I think I got the fur pretty good, so I think I used a water-based marker as like a base, and then some fine liners to get some of those lines, and color pencil. But yeah, really, really sweet book. All right, that is it for my collection and finished pages. Thank you so much for watching and leaving comments on my other videos. I'm so happy that I may have inspired some of you, because I know I'm always inspired and blown away by all of the colorists out there. So if you haven't already, please make sure you like and subscribe and check out my other videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.